Ruben Amorim said this after last night's match versus Bodo Glimt. There is progress compared to the previous match. I know it is a different match, a different competition, but we controlled the tempo better. It was important for me to see the team continue to play in a difficult period after the 2 goals. It was a message for me. We turned the situation around and it was deserved. In the end, we suffered together and we won. We improved several things: more control, more chances, team placed higher. We should have killed the match before the final whistle and we suffered in transition. We have to improve on that, including one-on-one. We improved with the ball, we created more chances, we were more dangerous, and we'll have to change players against Everton, is what Amorim said. Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and in today's video we're going to talk about everything we think that Ruben Amorim has learned from these first 2 games at United. He's already speaking about the improvement between this game and his first game, us being vulnerable in transitions and more. But before I get into the video, I want to introduce Adam. How are you doing?
I'm good, Alice. I'm very good. Always good. I'm better after a United victory and actually enjoying a game of football that really was entertaining last night, which is
Yeah.
a breath of fresh air at Old Trafford, to say the least, Alice.
Oh, 100%. That second half, I don't know how we didn't score 5. That was the only
Yeah.
criticism I'd have. I thought the football was there. It was good. Obviously not the best opposition, but we could definitely see improvements, which was the most important thing for me. And like, what was your sort of just general thoughts on the game?
Yeah, you just said it there, Alice. I think I said outside of Old Trafford when I came outside, my thoughts were I can see improvements from what happened against Ipswich at weekend, and later on, I've done a show on my channel this morning talking about what Ruben Amorim said, because obviously I was at the game. I give my thoughts, and then for him to pretty much marry up with what I was saying and what a lot of other fans were saying. It's like we've got a connection right now with a manager or head coach, whatever you want to call him. But it feels
Mm.
like he's seeing what we're seeing this time, and there's no disconnect. It's like no one's pulling the wool over the fans' eyes now. We can see where we need to improve. No one's getting carried away with any individual performance or team performance or how much we have improved. The opposition was taken into consideration, like you said. And I just feel like right now we're where we thought we would be. And we're just about starting to see signs of players that are going to progress under this system and ones that are needing a lot more work. And that's another step last night, is how I took that. Obviously important that we pretty much cemented our place into position ready to attack that top 8 finish in the last 3 games now in the Europa League and get the important win for the competition. But overall, Alice, I think last night just for me was another stepping stone in the progression direction, and not wanting to sound negative, but sort of sieving out some of the players that need a lot more work or are basically not good enough, and hopefully will be let go at the end of the season. But overall,
Mm.
really, really encouraged, I would say,
Yeah.
was the right word. Probably encouragement from last night.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree with you. I think the way Amarin just says it, how you think it in
Yeah,
the press conferences, like it was good, but the defending of transitions was bad. He called that out. The Ipswich game, their lack of physicality was sin. He called that out. He knows that this team is going to need a centre back that's good at defending transition. We're going to need a left wing back. He knows we're going to need legs in midfield, and he knows we need a goal scorer. Like he knows that we've got these issues. And I also think that he's profiling, for the most part, the players quite well. As you said, we saw some performances. I thought Agati had a really good game. He'll be key. Mason Mount had probably his best game in United shirt, in my opinion. Mazraoui is just Mr. Excellent. Højlund really showing, what he can do. And I think with Højlund, he's raw and there's elements of his game he needs to improve. But I think if you give him service, he can score. The
yeah.
first goal he scored was very good finish as well. And it's good to see improvement. And as you were just talking about, you were sort of seeing players that could progress under Amorim. And this first question I've got for you, if I can click the wrong screen button, is what 5 players do you think would have impressed Amorim the most so far? And do you think he could be looking at, they'll be in my plans, if you can think of 5?
Yeah, well, we've looked at this team, and everybody's said all along Amorim coming in, and the people that were sort of sceptical around Amorim, and this still being the same Manchester United side before, Leopard never changed his spots, all of them lines coming out. I picked out 5 automatically straight away for me that have taken to the system instantly, whether that be because they are just absolute quality and they can't go wrong in any system, or they've accepted a different type of role and are now fully
Mm,
invested in what the manager wants. My 5 players are obviously Mazraoui. I
yeah,
think Amad
fantastic.
Diallo. Yeah, the 2 players on the screen right there, both of them
Mm,
too, 100% have taken to the system instantly. Mason Mount, Rasmus Højlund, Manuel Agate. They're the obvious ones for me. And if you
yeah.
think about that, Alice, That's half a team right there. You had a goalkeeper, there's 6, because Onana's not going to have an issue, I don't think, in what we're doing. I think De Ligt's been solid. I think Martinez has been no problem at all coming in. Like his passing percentage last night. Did you see the stats from his passing last night? I think
Yeah.
it was 100%, 79 out of 79, and 19 were into the
So good
opposition
on the ball.
half.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So really, Alice, I said this morning. I looked at 5 players that have adjusted instantly, 2 that seamlessly are just going to go into that team. I said, right, they've got 8 players there. So it's 2/3, 3/4 of a team that are already invested in it. I'm like, that's not bad. We're all right with that. And then I think we've actually got Yoro and Mainu to come back yet. We've nearly got a team that I think will get us through this season. Obviously,
Yeah, I agree.
there are other players to come in. There are other areas where we need to improve. There are other players that we're unsure about. But them 5 that I said there, I picked out in particular because Ahmad has accepted a new role. Mason Mount has been brought into a double 10. And we were all wondering if he was going to be the one that
Yeah, that's his
really,
best role.
was really going to suit this system. It looks like last night his movement was outstanding. From the stands, Alice,
Yeah,
last night, Mason Mount's movement and how he helped Anthony on that side were out. It
I
was
can imagine. Yeah,
outstanding. Agate read the game superbly. Mazraoui, I don't. You could put him up front.
lost
He'll
for
get a
words.
9 out of
It's so
10.
good.
Honestly, like this sign, we've said it every time we've done a show together. Signing of the season above
Sort of
everyone else in the Premier League.
13 million, something like that. And
Wow,
people were
honestly,
upset with selling Wan-Bissaka, like crazily
yeah.
now.
No, you've seen the difference in quality of player. That ultimately, that's your perfect example, Alice. Wan-Bissaka, Mazraoui. If you transfer that across to this summer, you're talking a different Man United.
Oh,
That side of
100%.
recruitment, apart from Xerxes, you look at the signings we made this summer, you cannot complain. But just to go back to the question of they're the 5 players I would say have to start every single game. That's my given, I feel. In terms of Amorim's system, Ahmad Mazraoui, Mason Mount, Rasmus Højlund, Manuel Agate. They're the 5 that are my guaranteed starters every single week, going off what I've seen so far. And we can only judge this from what Amorim's had in 2 games. We've got to forget about the rest of the season and last season, I feel. Amorim's had these players from the last 2 weeks. Who's impressed the most? Who looks like they can play his system? You have to take names out of it, wage packages out of it, egos out of this. Who's done well before?
Yeah.
Who works for Amorim? Them 5 for me. And obviously the others that I've brought in as well that I'm feeling are going to be able to adapt and are looking okay at the moment. But them 5 in particular, Alice, I would say I'm starting them 100% on
I
Sunday,
agree.
against Everton.
I 100% agree. Do you know what? You picked out the same 5 as me. Agate was the obvious one because he played on Amrin before. But Mazraoui and Ahmad, as you said, the way they've adapted to new roles, done fantastic. I still want to see Ahmad close to the goal. To be honest, I just think he's our best player
I
in the
wish he'd
final
have
third.
taken that. I wish he'd have gone for that chance last night instead of
Yeah,
passing it. I wish he would, but do you know what,
selfless.
Alice? Sorry to interrupt you there, but it just shows you how important the wing backs are because Ahmad looks like he's always forward. It just shows you how much impact they have in this attacking format. And I tell you what, Alice, one thing from the stands last night that you get to see, the amount of space that the wing backs have got. If it was anyone other than Malacia who was just having his first game back, honestly, if you've got an Alphonso Davies or a better wing back in
Yeah,
that position, oh my,
Piku Shaw even.
you can see how it works. Someone with confidence with that amount of space because the rest of the team is the 210s drawing so many of the defenders and midfielders. And to see it up close and personal, like you know how this system works, Alice, but
Yeah,
to actually watch it and see how much space that creates out wide, wow, if you've got players there and you can totally understand why he is so invested into his wing backs. And I think that in the summer, that will take United to a whole new level again. But yes, sorry to interrupt you, but to carry on
no,
from there.
like honestly, because when you're on the stands, you just see so much more than you do on the TV,
Oh, it
particularly
was
with the
brilliant.
movement off the ball. And as you said, the movement from Mount and the tens and the wing backs, there was, as Ruben Amorim said, an identity there, particularly in the second half. We were seeing something, and although we don't have the players that 100% suit the identity, we lack physicality, defenders at defending transitions. Rather than Ten Hag playing it safe, Ruben Amorim's just saying, "I'm going to implement my system. I'm going to implement my identity. I'm going to see who can do it, who can't do it, and who can't do it will be out," rather than trying to do the best I can now, because that will cause us issues later on. He's trying to implement his identity. And I think he almost said something along those lines in the press conference, which was just great to see. And like, as you said, we were talking about the 5 players. Mine again would be Mazraoui, Ahmad, Mount, Højlund, Agate. I think they all suit the system. I think Euro and Maino can come back into that. I thought Leacher, I think maybe because Malassia's legs are, first game in 500 days, I thought he could have maybe done a bit better in the transition, but on the ball was everything you wanted. And then obviously I thought Luke Shaw actually, when he came in at left centre back,
yeah.
hasn't put a foot wrong.
I didn't mention him actually, but do you know what? You're sort of torn between, I just don't want to rely on him anymore. I don't want him.
Yeah.
And then he goes on the pitch and you're like, oh God, that's
Why do you
why.
have to be so good? And then you're going to
Yeah,
be out
that's
for 6
why we
months.
miss him. Yeah, I'll go quickly on Leacher there. He was playing a ball, particularly in the first half, right between the lines every single time into one of them 10s. There's
Yeah, I
definite
noticed
work
that.
being done on the training ground. Alice Leacher stepping forward. It was like he was the centre back that stepped forward from the 3 into midfield, and he was playing superb little passes in between the lines, and the 10s were picking it up. And that's how it created space, because it was an instant ball in, and then it was an easy flick around the corner for the wing back who was going down either side. Every single time it worked a treat. We just didn't have that end product that we all know we haven't got at the moment. But while he's testing and experimenting, you can see, and he actually alluded to this. He said, like, we will have to work as a team in terms of finishing. At the moment, we're working on the system. And you can see that.
Yeah, we're seeing
and
it.
It's a bit hit and miss up front, like 20 shots and only 6 on target. Kind of shows you where our issue is, Alice. But in terms of creating, more of it, more of the same, please.
Yeah, 100%. And as you said, you see a lot more from the stands, the movement, the passing. But I was noticing there was a real progression to get forward and keep the ball. And obviously there was weaknesses there that we're going to expect weaknesses. But as we spoke about, the 5 players that I think would have impressed him the most would be Ahmad Mazraoui, Agate, Højlund, Mount. And he even said on Mazraoui, after both games, he's an incredible player. He's our future. He always seems fresh, even if we have to be careful with all matches. He's the kind of player we need. And he only really left Bayern Munich because he had a few injury issues. I think he was one of those players that, Bayern Munich fans didn't want to let go. We obviously picked out Mason Mount and Rasmus Højlund as well. And then obviously Agate, the obvious one. And then one player, which will link to the next question, I think, that I think, is going to work in the system is Euro. Now, it is early days. He's only 18. But I felt one thing we might lack in the centre-backs is a little bit of defending the wide channels, just having the pace, because I think on transitions and defending the large space, De Ligt is a little bit slower. Martinez is all right, but he's not quick. I think that is an element we could improve. I thought Mazraoui looked the most comfortable off the ball of the centre-backs defending the wide channels. And I think Euro, in terms of his physical and athletic frame, actually profile-wise is what we're looking at. And this sort of links into problems, because I've picked out sort of 2 biggest issues from that game for me was defending transitions. But I think, again, that links to the athleticism of our squad. We know that we have to get recruitment spot on, I think, and sign players that are athletically good, fast, physical, can cover ground, because I think in the modern game of football, we're seeing that. I think Tottenham battered Man City 4-0 because their midfielders completely outrun them. Liverpool beat Real Madrid 2-0 because Liverpool's midfields completely outrun them. Modric is losing his legs a bit. Gundogan couldn't get back in transition. And I think we're seeing the importance of legs in defence, in midfield. And I looked at that game and I think left wing back, ground coverage, and defending transitions was probably the biggest issues. Goal scoring's one that we know we have that I think we can work on. And these were the issues I picked out on. And I just was wondering what you were thinking in terms of short-term, maybe long-term improvements.
Yeah, no, in terms of them issues, totally agree. Same old problem, like that weak centre. Physicality. It goes all the way back to Ralph Rangnick. Amorim said it. Everybody else that's been in charge of Manchester United, Ten Hag said it, the physicality, the bite. And in that midfield in the first half, it took, I think, it was the 35-minute mark, or round there, 30 to 35-minute mark. Leacher absolutely crushed someone in a tackle. It was like, I've had enough of this. He did exactly what I would do. It's like, I'm just going to put a stop to this right now and just crunch someone and sent the ball out of play. And it was like, from that moment, it was like, all of a sudden, it's like, this team stopped being weak in the tackle. The foot went in. We were incredibly aggressive. And for all of De Ligt's critics on his speed and keeping up with play and how fast the transition might have been from the opposition coming in, he was very aggressively in behind the centre forwards back. In the first 30 minutes, he struggled, and the whole defence did. And that centre forward definitely had the running of our back three, and that's where the goals came from. We couldn't get near them. We didn't put a tackle in. He plugged the gap, I thought, with a higher line and aggressive tackling than Bruno Fernandes in the second half. Bruno was a bit better for me in the second half, but he was doing a lot of the dog work as well. He was just plugging gaps that were there in the first half. And it basically then left them with one option, which was to go out wide. And obviously with Dalot being more natural in the second half as well, coming on, Luke Shaw obviously at left centre back at that point as well. It just stops anything coming out from that side. The only chance they really created was that dodgy pass across from Dalot to Casemiro, and Casemiro at centre back at that stage after De Ligt had gone off, had that little bit of a moment. But there I thought there was an acknowledgement that we were suffering. There was a clear plan to stop it from Amorim, and the players fed into it, and we absolutely dominated that second half. They didn't have a sniff apart from them last 5 minutes where it got a bit panicky because we don't take our chances and put the game to bed. But wing-back areas, you said it then, like the energy levels, when Agate's in that midfield, wow, he is frighteningly good. And the way he got that assist as well, that guy can get up and down that pitch. He really can. And
Yeah,
I
movement
feel,
underrated.
yeah, weakness-wise, it's like what we've said. We just need 2 or 3 better players in very key positions, and it's just a quality factor. The physical side is there. I do believe we need another midfielder. I think we need a wing back.
Ornstein said that as well.
Yep, we need a wing back, and we need another centre forward, and then we can move on from there to the next level, I think. But that is going to take us a long way, because I actually believe Mazraoui now is going to be one of the centre backs after watching him play.
Yeah, so
Because
good.
he can do both roles. He just gives pure security to that right-hand side.
For
And it
Ahmad
was
to really get forward as a wing back,
exactly.
because it
You
can
just
almost
took
be
the
4 at
words
the
right
back.
out of my mouth, Alice, there with that. I don't think he's going to play him. Obviously, he'll play different roles, and he said that everyone's got to do different positions and roles within the team. But Mazraoui at centre-back, what a whirlwind that has been over the last 2 games. I think he's absolutely perfect for the role. Like Luke Shaw is at left centre-back,
Yeah.
Mazraoui is at right. And I'm like, the Ellis, Martinez, De Ligt, and Yoro guaranteed 3 at the back is looking like it's under threat. If Shaw
Yeah.
stays fit and Mazraoui keeps playing the way he is, and he gives that extra security to Ahmad, who isn't as defensively minded. Obviously, he's done well, but still, you need that extra bit of protection. Wow, he reads the game better than anyone I've seen in years at Manchester United, Mazraoui. And
Oh, he does.
he's an outstanding player. And my concern is if injuries come into this team, Rasmus Højlund, we haven't got a 9. Mazraoui, just the brilliance and the quality of the player
Yeah.
that's hard to replace.
Everything. Yeah.
And obviously, I think Agati in midfield, because they're all absolute masters of their trade, I feel. So obviously, you can take Højlund,
I
who's a bit
agree.
raw, but he's the only 9 we've got, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Agate, no one was going to do that role better than he is in this whole Man United squad. And Mazraoui, for reasons we just described, then is just in pure quality. That's my only concern going forward, and it falls in line with the recruitment, Alice, and what we can do
Depth.
to back Ruben Amorim with better players.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you hit the nail on the head with Mazraoui, because he's a player that is technically good. He's good on the ball. He's got intelligence and defensive awareness. And I feel like he's one of the only players in our team, maybe the only, that you're like, he's intelligent, he's good on the ball, he's technical, he can receive at all angles, but he also knows where to position himself defensively. I feel like he doesn't have a weakness, which is maybe why he can play every position, but he has.
Why you got the quote of Amorim that you read out, Alice?
Yeah, it's just like, what can't he do? And I think right now, I'd be interesting to see him at left wing back, maybe, because I've not been convinced by Dalot there, or right wing back. But I think we have to play either Luke Shaw left centre back or Mazraoui right centre back.
Yeah. I feel that it's weird, isn't it? Because you look at certain players, and this is what we were going on about with Ten Hag. It's like, why the hell has Ten Hag not done more with these players? Why has he not tried to play these players in a back 3? Why has it always been like his way and this strict back 4? There's players that suit certain formations. I think we've got loads of them. All of a sudden, we've got an abundance of centre backs, and we might not have to go out in the market, Alice, and overspend on a centre back in the summer now. Just out of the way that Amorim set them up, we do need another one. I get that, but do you know what? Instead of like needing two, maybe we could put a bit more money towards that world class number 9. This is what you find when you experiment and you try to, and you install that trust in your players. I feel like everyone in that squad believes in them. And my biggest take away from that yesterday was you had Mount and you had Antoinette, you had Malacia, 3 players under Ten Hag would never have got a sniff that are giving their all and probably feel like they're a part of this project right now. And that was simply because of how Amorim's approached it. And he told everybody that you're going to be rotated. And everybody seems to know when they're coming off that this is going to happen already. It's like they all know what the plan is. It's simple. Honestly, it sounds stupid and pathetic, doesn't it? This is Manchester United, a professional team. And we're talking about players knowing that they're going to come off. Or you're going to have this amount of time and that amount of time. But this is what Manchester United have been lacking for years. Like normal football structure. We're talking about it like it's the next best thing since sliced bread, when really every other team in the league is laughing at us for feeling like this is brilliant and this new age of football.
We've been so starved of it. The small things were like, oh, we've got, when Omar Barada came in, we were celebrating having a proper CEO. And it's like, where have we been for 18 years? But honestly, you took the words out of my mouth there at the end, because I was saying the one thing I really like about Amorim is the rotation. With Ten Hag, Favourites FC, everybody played. We'd be crap and we'd be in the 80th minute. And I think we've been crap. And then he makes a sub in the 85th minute. To have 5 subs made before the 70th minute, to have rotation, to see everyone getting a chance, I think one is going to get the players more behind him, because I think some of the players with lesser roles are going to be like, oh, this guy's going to give me a chance. And I think that's where some players fell out with Ten Hag a little bit, with the minutes and the favouritism. The rotation, obviously, he's going to rotate early days as well, just to see who can do what. The brave subs, and as you said, second half, changed it up a little bit. We came out better. We saw adaptations, and I think that's everything we've wanted to see. And I think Ten Hag didn't sometimes have the balls to do that at time, if I'm going to be honest. And we're going to sort of talk about at the end sort of potential signings. But I think in terms of, and I don't like to be negative, but in terms of what you're seeing so far, do you think there's 3 players, probably more, that you just think they probably are going to go in the summer?
Players to leave, yes. I think there are obvious ones. This is where I find it tricky as to like pure opinion and the reality. I do believe that Manchester United move forward if 3 key players leave. And they are obviously, I think Anthony for his quality.
100%.
I work rate, sort of endeavour and attitude and just pure out aggression. Like I can energize a bunny, but it's just been boosted by a big battery pack. He's just too much. And then when he calms it down, he's actually all right. He is effective in a certain way, but not in end product terms. He definitely goes and someone else comes in and replaces him. And then you're looking 100%. At a different ball game. Marcus Rashford, obviously for me, I don't see where he fits in. The fact that Ruben Amorim has already called him out already, saying that's not his role as a number 9. It's like, well, we could have told you that from the start, but he's realised it after one game. Because let's be honest, Alice, the defenders aren't going to get any smaller. And he's talking about playing up against 2 giants. He's going to come up against better defenders and bigger defenders than that. Wait till he comes up against bleeding Gabriel and what's the name? What's he? I forgot the other centre back's name now at Arsenal. It's just left my mind.
Oh, Saliba.
Yeah, Saliba. Sorry. Yeah, when he comes up against Gabriel and Saliba,
struggled.
Yeah. So reality tells you Rashford, his time is up for so many reasons. I think him, Anthony. Then you're making a bit of space then for other players to come through and giving a chance. You could argue Bruno Fernandes, but for me, I just feel like it's going to be. It's going to, rather than one more player, I think it's probably going to be an accumulation of a few. That would be,
I think
that would be the 4 that we know: Evans, Maguire, Lindelof, and Eriksen. I think they're them 4 to leave. Anthony and Rashford. If that happened in the summer, you would have a whole fan base going, "This is it. This is it." There's only really Bruno left then that people are sort of debating about, isn't there?
Yeah, I'd keep Bruno just because I think. When we lose him, we'll realise how important he is. Kind of player.
Don't get me wrong, Alice. If you go, and I always Kvaratskhelia, I always get his name wrong, but if there is any truth in that, and he comes in, I would gladly say, okay, Bruno, thank you for your service. But if you are going to get rid of Bruno, there has to be an outstanding candidate that comes in that's going to play every single week. And that's
Oh,
hard to find in a
100%.
window straight out. Because Bruno, for all his critics, he's used by every single manager for a reason. He has got something that manager knows will help his team. Whether I forget captaincy, put that aside. There is something there that he has
Work
got.
rate,
That, yeah,
game
everything.
changer.
Yeah.
He's got that quality that we lack sometimes.
And finding that in a window is hard, Alice. It's hard. I think it takes a lot of recruitment, a lot of research, and a lot of work behind the scenes from now all the way to the summer to get a replacement for Bruno. Kvaratskhelia, honestly, I think he is mustard. I think he is a quality player.
Yeah, 100%.
You've got Gomez there as well that we're looking at possibly on the cheap for a free transfer. But look, they're the three I would say are big, but the obvious four behind them three. And then every United fan's going, Ineos are serious here. I think that's how big that is. That if that summer does come about, then there's not going to be one Man United fan that's not taking their recruitment plan seriously.
Yeah, that would be a proper like statement rebuild. I mean, I 100% agree on Anthony. I don't think there's a fan that probably disagrees on that.
No.
I think the obvious ones is Eriksen, Lindelof, Maguire, Evans because of the contract. I think Casemiro potentially just because of age. I think he's been quite good this season, but it is because of age.
Yeah, I forgot about Casemiro actually. That's a good point, that one.
I think, there might be question marks over Xerxes, just to see how he adapts to the system. But I think there was a good player there at Bologna. It just sees if he's a Premier League player or not. I think, again, the physicality and stuff. And then for me with Rashford, I believe in Rashford's quality, but he has to show it. Between now and the end of the season, Rashford has to show something, or in my opinion, he's gone. And I'm someone that backs Rashford because I think he's the only player in our team that can actually get you 30 goals a season when he's good. But he looks like he's lost a yard of pace, a bit of confidence. Where's his best role? Because I like Mount as the 10. I also think Bruno could be a 10. Amma could be a 10. Xerxes, Garnacho.
I mean, the example is there in what Mason Mount did last night, Alice, and that is, would Rashford do a reverse run from the outside into a 10 role behind two defenders to play a 1-2 to set up a holding midfielder running through? Has Rashford got the IQ for a 10?
Yeah.
And the answer is no. He wouldn't even think about doing that. He's direct. He works insistent. And do you know what? It's like, I love Bruno. Bruno's like my idea of how you feel about Rashford, I feel.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, look, if Ruben Amorim has got a system that he doesn't fit in, I have to back the manager. I have to back the coach.
100%.
This is what we've been crying out for. Moments FC has to disappear. And you know what was good about last night, Alice? We scored 3 goals that weren't worldies. We scored worked goals, 2 from crosses and 1 from a bit of endeavour and determination.
Pressing, yeah.
For Rasmus to score number 9 position goals, that was like a big takeaway.
Not seen that in ages, it feels like. It never happened under Ten Hag.
No, last time I seen a goal scorer like that was Rude. Because we had people crossing the ball. He scored 2 goals from 2 crosses.
He's so clinical. I've said this with Højlund from the beginning. I said, I think there's things Højlund needs to improve on, but I said, it's not Højlund's fault we spent 70 million on him after he scored 9 goals at 20 years of age. You know, that's what put the expectation on. It should have been Kane and Højlund. Højlund to learn from Kane. That would have been the ideal situation. But we spent 30 million more on Højlund than we should have. He was third choice striker at Atalanta. I think people had these high expectations of Højlund, and it's Man United. If you are the striker for Man United, you need to be ready. But that was for me was more on recruitment. I said, you give Højlund the ball, he scores. He got 16 goals last season. To put that into context, Nicholas Jackson got 70 goals for Chelsea last season. And, Nicholas Jackson, I think, was good, but he had a lot of service, a lot of misses. When you look at the scraps that Højlund was living off, to get 16 goals, I feel, actually, when he got, 9 goals the season before coming from Atalanta, in a dead side with no service, he had a few injuries, was playing with back injury for a bit. I thought, you know what? He did well, and I think that he can learn and grow under Amorim. I think we do need a striker. We'll dive into that. But I think, as you said, we need players that suit Amorim's system. I'm a big fan of Marcus Rashford. I think maybe if he was in the positions Garnacho was in, I think maybe he puts one of those away. I think I think Garnacho gets into the right positions, but he just needs to work on the final ball. We could have played Højlund in for a hat-trick. The finishing, I think that question where Garnacho is probably the one where Rashford would get in between him and Garnacho potentially there. But then we might move Mason Mount to the left and put Ahmad up further up on the right, although he's doing well at wing back. I think he's so influential in attack. So I think you're right on that. I think the obvious players will go. And for me, Bruno Fernandes is my favourite United player. I think he's our best player, but he's 30s and it is the system, because would he be best in the front three? Probably, but he's probably best as a single 10. He's the player that doesn't 100% suit Amorim's system, but he's got the quality, and it's like he played deeper today. I think him and Agate did very well, actually. I was quite impressed with him because he had a more controlled game, but I think he can cover ground, and I think that athleticism when he's, he might not be as good as Eriksen, deeper or as comfortable on the ball, but he could cover the ground there, and I quite liked it. I think it will be Maino Agate long term. Maino gets back in there, just Maino's got that extra quality. But I thought Bruno did well with Agate. I'll give him props for that. But again, so many positions in the front three, so many players that could go for it, and I think, as much as I do like Rashford, if he doesn't perform this season, he has to go. He's got from now till the end of the season to do something under Amorim, or he'll have to go, and we'll look at Kvaratskhelia, or maybe we'll look at a Kudus or an Eze type player, and potentially he could play more central. I'd love Cole Palmer if we were looking at selling Bruno, but I think Bruno Fernandes will be here next season, and I think this time next year we'll think, because to replace Bruno, you've got to go big. You've got to spend, you're talking like a 50, 100 million, 50 million plus at least to replace Bruno. Cole Palmer, Wirtz, Musiala, they're the names that come in. Maybe a Kudus could do it. Maybe you could get two players that could do it. But you have to spend big. I think Bruno's someone, because of age, you'll look at in 2026. I think 2025 is Casemiro, Eriksen, the three centre-backs, Anthony, maybe Rashford. Probably one of Shaw or Malacia, just because of the injuries and stuff, I think could go. And then sort of take into account who might go. Is there anybody you've seen so far and you're just like, bring them in the summer?
Yes. Alphonso Davies, definitely. There was rumours, obviously, about Theo Hernandez the other day. Yes, obviously. I think he's an outstanding wing-back. We've got options there to go for. I think they will be pushed towards going all out for Alphonso Davies for obvious reasons. No money. They can afford the wages with what's being released in the summer as well. That's just an obvious go-to, and I can't see United not going all in on Alphonso Davies, even if it is a big wage package. You are buying the best in the business in that position for the next, 8 years minimum? And that is massive for Manchester United. In terms of midfield, Ederson from Atalanta for me. Revisit that 100%. Their record and their defensive record with him sat in that midfield is phenomenal. I didn't see their result this week in the Champions League, but I know in the first 4 games they'd not conceded a goal in the Champions League, Atalanta. And he's part of that midfield there. He's freaking phenomenal.
And also, as you said, we've got no one who can do what Agate can do, and he can.
No. Yes. That there for me is pure depth, because then you're looking at Ederson, Agate, Kobbie Mainoo. You're looking at a different ball game altogether then. And I think all of them players will will help each other get better. So I would say Ederson midfield, the fullbacks, wingback situation is definitely, for me, is going to be Alphonso Davies. But you could obviously see Kirkez, his contract situation, Alvaro Fernandez, his contract situation. Again, Theo Hernandez, they're all coming down to really obvious either contracts running out or clauses in contracts for United.
Affordable.
Yeah, really affordable. So we've got 4 good options there as well. And we've not even brought in a mass into the equation yet. So United on that left-hand side, I think we've got that covered. One way or another, we're going to get an upgrade in that position.
Yeah, Romano said we will.
Yep. Ederson in midfield for me, 100%. I like that. Australia, obviously up front. You could say Angel Gomez. There's obvious options there for that position if we really need a 10, depending on how everyone plays this season. Up front, the obvious one, you've got him on your screen there, is Victor. If that contract is up at that and there is an opportunity for him to leave between that 60 and 70 million euro mark, which is reported at the moment, just go and get it done. Forget about everyone else. Just go out and get the best in the business. Proven goal scorer right now, who I found it funny how we've seen reports that Manchester United have had scouts watching Gyökeres. I'm like, Why? I know it's doing your job and everything, doing it for, but
Like, we know
you,
it.
you've got a manager there who made him.
Yeah.
You know that he's good enough. He would be the one. Obviously, you know what? If we cannot, say for instance, there's other clubs coming in, the season doesn't go the way it's going to, we hope it will go, and he wants to play Champions League football, we can't offer it him. Osimhen,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
could be
That
one. He
situation
could
with
be
1
cheap.
year left at Napoli it will cost a bit, but with only one more year left after this season for Osimhen, there's an opportunity there as well. So, yeah, striker wise, there are lots of options out there as well this summer, I feel, that United can go for. They would be my main ones, Alice. Like, concentrate on 3 positions, I say. Best in class in all on the 3 main positions that you need replacements in. And I think we're going to that next level again. And I think we've got enough to challenge and comfortably finish top 4 again next season and start to claw the points gap down a little bit as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with most of what you're saying. I think left wing back will be the priority. If you can get
Yeah.
Alphonso Davies, you get him. If you can't, there'll be options.
Yeah.
Kirkes, Ait Nouri, Hernandez, Alvaro maybe. Obviously, it's just seeing who do you think's
Ait
up to the
Nouri keeps
level.
on coming up with everybody at the every show I do. Ait Nouri comes up all the
Yeah,
time. He's like, get
he's
him.
attacking minded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Robinson, maybe. I think if we had a back four, he'd have been my first pick just because Premier League proven. But he's a bit older. But again, he gets up the flank well. There's obviously like young players like Dorgu and other people to watch. But there's definitely options left wing back. It's the priority. I think a centre back is just needed in general because Evans, Maguire, Lindelof will go probably too. Diomande is very, very obvious one. But then you've got other names like Schlotterbeck, Luca Bar, that quite a good wide channel defenders. Braithwaite again, quite an obvious one. But obviously, when you've got Luke Shaw that can play left centre back, Mazraoui that can play right centre back, Euro Delict, Martinez, Man United might say, you know what, we'll get 1 centre back and 2 fullbacks because maybe they'll see Mazraoui or Luke
And
Shaw
you've
as
got
it.
with that there the likes of Kakonke coming through as well.
Yeah,
Obviously, physical wise, I didn't even realize he was 6'5" at 16. Like,
it's
they're
mental.
talking like fit the physicality factor off. You can imagine when he develops, like
Oh,
what sort
his
of beast he's going to
profile
be.
would be perfect for Amrabat. Like him and Euro, if you think of your profile, I think Euro would be the central centre back long term. He'd be the left centre back. And then you get Diomande in as your 1 centre back signing to be the right centre back. And
Oh,
then
that's
profile
how you're
wise,
talking Christmas morning here, Alice, right now with
if
this.
they hit their potential, boom. And maybe we do just say, screw it. We'll sign 1 centre back that's Diomande, but we're going to sign a left wing back. And they might say, oh, we'll sign maybe Kenda or someone,
Yeah.
or Frimpong as a right wing back because Mazraoui's now a right centre back, and Mazraoui and Euro can compete for right centre back. Delict and Maguire, if he stays centre back, Leach Shaw left centre back. You've got 2 for each position, so or you go and you get a left wing back and a right wing back, or 2 left wing backs, and maybe that is the way that United do it. And when you look at that and the potential, and obviously Godwill and Yoro and Diamande, there could be something there. And I think Ineos will be smart and they'll have a think of stuff. And obviously, our opinions will change at the end of the season, how players do. But I think, yeah, there's got to be, for me, 3 players coming in defence, 2 fullbacks, 1 centre back, 2 centre backs, 1 fullback. As you said, midfielder, because no one could do what Agate can do. We need an Edison. I put Belieber there. Just we need an engine. We need a tank.
Yeah.
Belieber has some maybe more technical qualities than Edison, which may be favoured because then he can also cover Maino a little bit. But there needs to be an engine in there. I like Stiller of Stuttgart. Don't think we'd get him. I remember, was it you that mentioned him? Bruno Guimaraes would have been amazing, but
Yeah.
got to be realistic. Camavinga, those kind of players. And then after that, we will need an attacker. We will need Cunha could be a 10 and could play up top. Chokeres, if the option is there. João Pedro of Brighton. There's some good names, but 1 solid attacker, 1 solid midfielder, 3 at the back, just for the depth, I think. And then I think actually, when you look at how Mount's doing, Hoyland's doing, Ahmad's doing, Mazraoui, Agate, Maino should slot in, Euro should slot in, Leacher and Shaw are good players. There's just fitness there. There is a very good squad there, actually, Adam, and it is
You
quite exciting.
Oh, yes, it is. It's like we're playing Championship Manager right now with this. It feels great. But I think like there's only one player you mentioned in all of them United players and all of the players that you just mentioned in terms of possibilities for coming into the club. There's only Luke Shaw that you're looking at there that's aging out of
Yeah.
all of them. Everyone else, and this is the beauty that no one's picking up on, it's like we talk about Manchester United kamikaze transfer windows. Omar Barada has come out recently and said like the days are gone when United are doing full-on rebuilds every single summer. You can see why he's saying that, because the profile of the players we're looking at right now have all got like what 6 or 7 years minimum in them. And if you think then like the next window, all you're doing then is going out like Sir Alex used to do, 1 or 2 absolute cream players just to add that little bit extra quality. Bang, that's where you need to get to. I think after this next window coming up in summer 2025, I feel by the time 26 comes, I think Ineos will feel like there's only 1 or 2 more signings that need to come in. You'll have the coming of age of the possibility from the youth, from the academy, like Obi Martin there to back up as well. You've got Biancheri there, you've got Scanlon, you've got Sekou Kone coming through in midfield. By 2026, this squad should be absolutely rock solid and in place. And you're picking out 1 or 2 absolute gems. And they have to be gems because you've already got the base of a really good squad.
Like a Lacey
team
maybe from the academy. Absolutely agree. I think it's exciting, and I think we can get excited because, as you said, young team. I believe in this manager, and it's not like they're going to have Ed Woodward or Murta going out and doing the transfers for him. We know that Ineos are good, and we know that there is ambition there. Obviously, I wanted the full sale of the club, but you can't really fault what they've done. They've shown the ambition, and maybe Champions League, if we don't get it, the money's a little bit less and it's more on Amorim, but proven manager. This is the first time we've had a manager since Alex Ferguson that's not going to be working with imbeciles. And I think things will look up. And I just want to say, Adam, thank you so much for coming on today's show. First of all, is there anything you want to add? And then just let the viewers know where they can find you.
No, absolute pleasure coming on as always, Alice. Love doing the tactical breakdowns with you and looking into the stuff in depth. I know you think on my wavelength with a lot of stuff goes on in the game as well. So no, it's good to actually work on the same wavelength as well there. But yeah, absolute pleasure as always. And yeah, please give this video a like and make sure that you give plenty of comments in the comment section and let us know what you think about all our thoughts as well, everyone. And I'm on Forever United TV. Very, very busy now that the games are coming thick and fast. So you see me outside Old Trafford, you see me all over the place now. I was on TalkSport last night, pretty much talking like we was then as well. So yeah, you've seen me all over. But yeah, Forever United TV is my channel, and I'll be definitely like 2 or 3 times a day on there now over the next 3 months.
Gonna be busy, busy December especially. Yeah, big up everyone for watching. Make sure you hit the likes on the way out. Go check out Adam, and yeah, see you next time.